Hey, my name is Sam Baker. Welcome to this video. I'm excited today to share with you something that's been on my mind that I've been thinking a lot about. And it's kind of a reflection of how business is changing and technology is forcing that change in 2024. And I think it'll be really useful. Hopefully it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and point you in the right direction if you enjoy running live events. Now, if you're running live events for the point of selling, like sales webinars, then I think this will be particularly useful for you because there's a big change that's happening right now. A lot of people haven't picked up on this. So, a couple of things. First of all, I've sold millions of dollars through webinars. I really enjoy selling through webinars. I think it's a great tool. We used to just go to webinar. It's kind of moved to Zoom right now. And the key with webinars was always that we wanted to get as many people registering as possible, right? So if we get more registrations on the webinar itself, then what it means is that we're then going to get a bigger attendance. And a big part of or a big important part of that whole process was we would be sending out emails, right? We're sending out about 5 emails. And we would find that if we sent an email 3 hours before the event, 45 minutes before the event, and then like 15 minutes before the event, it usually did increase attendance because people were thinking about that event before it was going to happen and occur. And then on that event, they knew that there would be an opportunity to buy something. We would always kind of pre-sell that. It's kind of important to do that to let people know that there is some sort of sale that's going to occur on the webinar, because a lot of the selling actually happens before the webinar begins. It's the hook, it's the message behind the webinar itself. That's why people are going to buy. And why are they going to attend the webinar? Usually it's because of the person that's delivering the webinar itself. Just like kind of you hear like a Tony Robbins talk. You don't go to a Tony Robbins talk to hear Tony Robbins methodology from someone else. You go to a Tony Robbins talk, you pay all that money for tickets because it's Tony Robbins that's going to be there. You know, you get that connection, and people respond to connection with individuals. They want to know who is the speaker. So there'd always be a bit of a pre-sale of that speaker. Now with social media, there's been a change, and webinars themselves are changing. They're being shaken up. I don't know if you've noticed this, but when I receive emails now about webinars and I click through and I see a webinar funnel, I think, oh, I'm not going to go through that. I'm not interested in that because I know that if I go through this funnel, you know, there's a number of things that are going to take place. First of all, I may attend this webinar, but I have to register for that webinar. Then I'm going to email by someone else. I don't know where my email is going. And there's like kind of a bit of a lack of transparency and trust because I know that, hey, if I opt into this list, am I going to get a lot of emails after this? When I buy this product from this person, is it the person that's running the webinar that's selling me the product, or is it another person that's doing it? So there's a lot of questions that come to mind, and that's happened as a result of me being on webinars and purchasing different products from different people and having various experiences, good and bad. And a lot of people feel that way now, I think. So how is it changing? First of all, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of webinars occurring over social media. That's the first big change. That never used to happen. If you have a following over social media, you don't direct people into a sales funnel. You don't direct people into a landing page. You just start a live call. Like on X, for example, I was on a live call the other day. They just started it like that. They got 200 people on there now because everyone's on, on X. They're just hanging around, got nothing to do. They're just wasting time, They're just looking at the things they're interested in. And then so-and-so is running a call. This person that I know is running a call about this topic. Hey, I'll get on. Yeah, I'll have a listen. And they'll jump on, they'll have a listen. And what I found is that more and more people are starting to advertise their different products through X. It might be their website they're selling. It might be that they're selling, some sort of product, ebook, or asking you to fill in an application to consulting, or inviting you to reach out to them through chat. And then they communicate with you about the product that they're offering. With YouTube Live is another one. YouTube Live is incredibly popular. These streaming type services are very popular. You don't really need a webinar anymore. You can do it all through social media. Now, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing it through social media. And I want to cover that now, and then I want to go through how I'm using webinars in a new way as well. That's separate from that and maybe useful in another context. So the way that you want to do this is you want to make sure that your content is always going to be general. People are going to be attending the webinar because of you. So when you're doing a social media webinar, you're going to be inviting all sorts of people. You're going to have all sorts of random people on there. They're going to be commenting, they're going to be doing different things. And that's kind of a scary thing for a lot of people, I think. It takes a bit of courage to actually start a webinar and go live when you know that lots of people are going to be joining, potentially, and then having those conversations. So one of the things that I'd invite you to do is before you do it yourself, get on someone else's. So see if you can network with people over social media, connect with them, and then join their webinar. That'll build your confidence. And there's actually packages you can buy where you can actually become a guest on someone else's webinar. Like, these aren't called webinars, they're called Spaces over X, but it's basically the same concept. And you can just jump on there, you can join them, have a conversation. So do that. And because it's a general audience, if you direct people into an application, if you direct people into a chat, like I've been seeing a lot of people doing, if you direct people to a product, I really believe that you're missing out. I think people over social media who are running these webinars are missing out. Why are they missing out? Well, if there is 200 people on the call, we don't know who these people are yet. They might be a really good fit for a lower end product of ours. They might be a really good fit for a higher end product of ours. They might genuinely be interested in hearing us on an ongoing basis, but they may not be a follower of ours. So we can obviously invite them to follow us, but when they're on Twitter, or X I should say, you're always going to be competing with everyone. If there is a larger person on X, a bigger influencer running a live at the same time as you, who is your audience going to choose? Are they going to choose you, or are they going to choose that larger influencer? You don't even know whether X will show that you're running a live call to that individual. If they're on with you in that moment, that may be the only time they ever join you on one of these live calls. It's a general audience. So the most important thing you can do is focus not on making sales, because you shouldn't be worried about sales. If you're good at this, you're not worried about sales on X or YouTube Live. What you should be focused on is directing those people into a place where you can capture them as leads. You want to get them off that platform and direct their attention to becoming leads, primarily. Now, obviously, you can mention the packages you have, you can mention that they can PM you can mention all this stuff, but your prime objective should be moving them off that platform and building a relationship with them in a way where you've got a monopoly with that, if that makes sense. So what I'm doing is I direct people to my hub. Now, a hub is basically everything in one. If you can imagine like Kajabi and Facebook groups merged together, or something like that, that's basically what a hub is. It's a place where you have your own social network. There isn't any feed, you don't have to compete against anyone else for attention. You've got your own feed, and every post goes out to your audience. So if you want a post to go out to their email address, it'll go out to their email address. If you want a post to go to their Telegram channel, it'll go to their Telegram channel. In a hub, you can communicate freely with them, and they can communicate freely with you. So here's what I would do. I would direct them from that live event that's happening in X or YouTube Live, whatever it is, direct them into your hub, generate them as a lead. When they join your hub, they're going to be asked, you can get them to ask a few questions. When they answer those questions, you can identify who might be a good fit and message them. You've got their email, you can send them a chat through Community, and then you can engage in a conversation with them. And when you're engaging in that conversation, you can find out about them, you can find out about their problems, and then you can sell through that. And that's going to help to engage that person ongoing and remove the noise. What you can also do in a hub is you can schedule all your future sales events. You can be running a sales event every single week, and you don't have to worry about whether they're going to attend or not, because you know they're going to get notified about it. Over Twitter or X, you're not going to know that. They're not going to know that. You get one shot at it. Then you can post other updates, but you're not sure if they're going to see them because it's social media, it's chaos. Whereas we're bringing order to it within our community hub. So you can schedule those future events, and people are going to know that they can register in them as well. Then you can obviously sell your products. You've got a monopoly over your hub. You can communicate with your audience, and they're always going to receive your messages as long as they're paying attention to what's going on in your hub. But the other thing is you've got their email address. You can email them anyway about that. Whereas if you're just trying to sell to them within social media, the new way that's kind of being done at the moment, you're not going to be as effective as if you use this strategy. So I'm using both. I'm using webinars, live events. I'm directing people into my hubs, and then I'm building relationships within my hub. I'm selling within my hub. I'm communicating within my hub. I have a monopoly over that. And anyone who joins my hub gets to see all my past correspondence, and that builds trust. It helps them to know that I'm legitimate, that I can really help them, and they get a lot of value out of that as well, which they can't do just reading through my general posts over social media. If they want specific information, the hub is where I send them, because that's exactly where they're going to get that information that they need. And it's going to be delivered in such a way that it's going to be really well packaged for them as well. So that's a rundown on how I see webinars changing, new technology being available, and how you should be running your webinars today. So forget about funnels, forget about all of that, do what I've said, it'll work. And down below you can find out more information. You can join my hub, and you can join me in there where I'm sharing more information like this. but it's obviously a lot more specific, useful, and you'll be able to get a lot of value out of that as well. So if you want to go ahead, go down below and do that. There's also a 60-day trial for Community, which helps you to create these hubs as well. All right, talk soon.